Hi there, and thanks for watching Cappuccino Conversations. Right now we're celebrating Innovation Month. Coming up at the end of August, there is the 5th South African Innovation Summit that's happening in Bryanston. And if you follow this link, you can go and see what speakers there'll be. We're, of course, celebrating by talking to some of those speakers, and I have with me Henra Mayer from Innocentrix. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Nico.
Welcome.
Hello.
I'm going to start Innocentrix. Tell us about the name about this company. How did you come about with this?
Innocentrix is an innovation management company, and it started about a year and a half ago. And the name is very interesting.
Okay.
It was crowdsourced. Do you know what crowdsourcing means?
Tell us about crowdsourcing.
Crowdsourcing is an innovation management approach.
Okay.
And what it means is when you do have a challenge or you want some ideas, you ask the crowd. Because very often...
Your target market,
your target
audience.
market or
Right.
a predefined crowd that you want to speak to. And you ask them a question, and this is what I did.
Wow.
I
Okay.
asked the crowd and I said, I want to start an innovation company, and what I want to achieve is the following. And what I have in mind is to have a real personal brand that is focused on innovation related activities. And I want it to be focused, I want it to be cool. I wanted
that's
to
what
be,
they came up with.
yes,
Fantastic.
and
Great.
I said I want to name, and I had a competition. So a lot of people came up with ideas, and we had some suggestions, and then we decided on the name Innocentrix, which was one of the suggestions, and I just changed the X at the end and called it Innocentrix. So it was not my big, famous, nice idea, but it was a name for a company that was crowdsourced.
That's awesome. Okay. Now tell us a little bit about it, your company.
I've been in the innovation space for quite a while, for about 8 to 10 years. And I finished my master's degree with a focus on innovation and innovation measurement. And innovation is like one of those things that once it gets hold of you, it's like jumping off bridges.
Okay.
You know? Once you've done it, there's just no turning back, like scuba diving.
Sure.
Right? And I got into the innovation space. And it's just where I wanted to be. It was my interest, my passion, and what I wanted to do for a living. So with Innocentrix, I spend a lot of time looking at the market.
Okay.
Right? You've been in the market, you know what people are struggling with, you know the main areas of focus, and you learn what works and what doesn't work. So I spend a lot of time looking at what's happening in the market and then really trying to redefine the company to focus on the areas of impact. In other words, we talk a lot about innovation. I mean, you're in the innovation space as well. And you hear a lot of people talk about strategy and strategic planning, and it's very, very important. But very often you hear more than what you see.
That's true.
So with Innocentrix, I really wanted to focus on action. Yes, we know innovation is important. We don't have that debate anymore. We know we need to do something. It's very often the what. And the how. And I think that's where a lot of organizations really struggle in defining. And yes, we know what we must do. It's in our mission, it's in our vision. We've got it, on our website.
How
Everybody knows
we're
an innovative company. But what are we going to do to get there? So innovation is Innocentrix is an innovation management company that focuses on action. Let's talk. And let's plan, and let's be strategically intelligent around innovation, but let's do something.
Let's get there.
Let's
That's
see
fantastic.
results.
That's fantastic. Now, you've published a lot of work, and there's a lot of your material out there. Is that what you're going to be talking about at the summit? Tell us a bit about what your research is going to do for the summit.
Yes, I have written a lot of articles. I like it because it's, and I like to write in the style that's more relaxed as well. Right? More cappuccino conversation.
Absolutely.
And I share what I see in the market and what people are talking about, and then I try and bring that over in a easy language that people can understand and that they can take something home, from that. But at the summit, I'm going to talk about recent research that we've done.
Sounds interesting.
That I found very interesting. It was not formal academic research, but it was an opinion poll. And what made it interesting was that we spoke to some of South Africa's most leading organizations. The big ones that you know about, that you read about in the papers, that is known for innovation. They participated in this poll. And we asked the question, how are South African organizations, we always speak about America and Europe, but how does South African organizations, how do they manage innovation? And we looked at the way around, how do they structure for innovation? Do they employ innovation management systems? What do they do first? What do they do last? What do they do well? How do we address the global trends in innovation? Things like gamification, things like engagement models around
What's
your
gamification? Go back.
It's games.
That sounds
Don't you play
gaming.
games?
Yes,
Do
absolutely.
you play
of
Angry
course.
Birds?
Yes. Okay.
It is very much like playing games. So how do you use the principles of gaming, like engaging people to achieve certain tasks? How do you use that in the innovation environment, in your innovation process? And how can you use those principles to engage people to do what you want them to do for innovation to work?
Right. Okay.
So it is
really kind of pulling everybody
it's a
into
playing
it.
game.
Yes.
It does include things like the loyalty programs that you will be more familiar with. You know, if you use our product, you gain these points, and then you can do something with that, and so forth. It's very similar, but it's deeper than that. It is really engaging people in coming back to that platform, using it for what you want them to use it while they're having fun. So it's not something that they must do. It's something that they enjoy doing.
It becomes engaging on a different level.
There was recent statistics that they said by the year 2014, it's 2 years from now, that 70% of organizations that employ processes in their innovation environment would have gamified those processes. It will become as important as Amazon.
It is, because a lot of things are it's an app, it's something on your phone, you quickly access it, and it's easy to, it's not a troublesome thing.
Yeah, so we looked at all those things.
Okay,
right?
wonderful.
How are we doing with it? Are we integrating those things? Are we on par with the global organizations as far as innovation management is concerned?
Do people have to prepare anything for your session? Is it going to be like a workshop? Are you going to share some knowledge? Is there stuff that they've got feedback?
I don't think they have to prepare. I think they need to bring their brains and share their lessons.
Okay, and also it's not just top management, right? Anybody can come to this.
Absolutely, anybody.
It's very important for innovation
anybody
to happen
who's
right
interested
across.
in making innovation work,
Great.
who want to see the action and who want to see the results, who wants to know a bit more about how South African organizations that are valued in the innovation environment, what are they doing, how are they employing it, or how do they action innovation, and then from there I will share some global trends around innovation.
I wanted to ask about that. How is South Africa kind of doing?
How do we compare?
It's really always good to compare. I don't know if guys just want to compare things.
It's something I'm quite passionate about, because when you're in the space, you get a lot of case studies, and it's always the same. You hear from Apple, and you hear from 3M,
Google.
And then you hear about Google, and when you attend a course, that's always the type of examples
that's
you
what
get.
People talk about,
Yes, so it's great examples. I mean, we can learn a lot from them, but in the end of the day, it's not South African. And we've heard it before, right? If you go to a talk or an innovation session and you see the Apple example again, it's
crazy.
It's easy to talk. I just recently wrote an article about Steve Jobs, but it was about his most incredible lessons learned. And it was written by a woman, so it needs to be featured.
Okay, good.
But yes, it's more around how are South African organizations doing things,
and how people make it their own, really, isn't it?
and how do they manage it, and how does it work? Because I believe every organization, but also every country, got their own challenges, right? And their own advantages and their own milieu that they operate within.
That's right.
We've got a very, very specialized context. I think if you can make innovation work in South Africa or in Africa, you can make it work anywhere.
I love that.
But if you look at what is available in the literature and what you learn by watching global trends, and you have a look at the South African environment, what you see is that we are very aware around what is necessary, right? We're not behind in terms of what we think. But the strategic intelligence to make it happen is lacking still, because we don't put the money. If you do strategic planning, you've got a budget, you've got measures in place to track your progress, because it's something that you've planned for, something that you're investing in, and therefore you expect returns. As far as innovation is concerned, we do know that we need to address it, but we very often start, that's one of the questions we asked, we very often start with forming an innovation committee. Good idea, but it's
lots of talk.
Yes, and it might delay our process. The committee doesn't sit, the idea doesn't get evaluated. You wait another 2 weeks, sometimes a month, and it happens again. Yes, so we normally start there. Then we appoint innovation teams. And very often we appoint these teams to implement ideas, which is good, because implementation, innovation without implementation is not innovation. But then we look at what we already have in place and we integrate innovation with existing change management practices. So whatever we have going on, we hook onto that, and we don't really, which is also good. I'm an advocate of that, because you don't need to reinvent the wheel, but we don't spend the money. We don't invest in innovation enough. We don't reward and recognize innovation enough. We don't measure. I think, I can't remember the statistics, but I think it's around about 26% of organizations that address innovation don't measure.
Don't measure it.
They've got no idea what the outcomes are.
It's kind of just part of the trend, and let's just do it, slap it on a campaign
which is a
or
bit
something.
silly. It actually illustrates that we do not employ strategic intelligence in the innovation environment, because we don't measure our outcomes and we don't really invest what we should. But what was clear is that we know what we should do. We just don't get around to doing it.
Thanks very much for coming in. We really appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Great. And that's it from us at the Cappuccino Conversations. Until another time, goodbye.